Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be discussing how to create your own horoscope. So the idea is at the end of this video you're going to know how to create a horoscope for anything. And the reason behind this video is because when I was first starting out in astrology, I tried so hard to find this kind of video and content like this, and it was just next to impossible to find anything. So I wanted to help everyone out and give you guys the tools that you need and the very simplistic methods on how to actually create your own horoscope. So I have out behind me a very rough basic idea of a astrological chart, and the purpose of this, as I mentioned, is for you to be able to create your own horoscope. So this is really specifically aimed towards those who want to perhaps do astrology readings yourself, specifically around things like astrological seasons, transits that are occurring, full moons, new moons, that kind of thing. And for everyone else, this is so you understand the hows and whys behind the horoscopes when you're watching them. Now, I need to point out very quickly that when doing these kind of horoscopes, they are not going to be 100% accurate based on your personal chart, because we are going based on zodiac signs. So if you're doing your own personal horoscope chart, I will be doing a separate video on how to actually watch astrological readings and interpretations in order to get a more accurate version for your chart. But if we're looking at the general energy, so for example, let's say you're a sun sign Scorpio like me, if you're watching Scorpio energies, this is not necessarily going to be accurate for your sun sign. This is just giving you more of a collective understanding. So when I say collective, this is for the overall energies that you're seeing. So if you're going onto YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or any of the social media platforms and watching a like a new moon reading, for example, or a full moon reading based on the signs, or if you are reading the horoscopes that you would see in magazines, newspapers, online, those kind of things, this is collective energy. So it's for the, when we say collective, this is for the everyone who is that particular zodiac sign. So behind me I have a very basic zodiac wheel, starting with Aries in the first house through to Pisces in the 12th, so it's going in this direction. It doesn't matter the kind of chart that you're referencing, whether or not, because if you pull up a chart of the moment on any website, for example astro.com, which is what I use, you're going to get the rising sign at that point in time will change because, or the first house will change because it's based on that particular chart of the moment. But it doesn't matter because the zodiacs will never change. So you always have, what I mean by this is you always have Aries next to Taurus, and then Taurus next to Gemini, Cancer, so on and so forth. And this is really the key component that you actually need for understanding a horoscope. So we're going to be using the upcoming full moon in Sagittarius as an example. So I have my little magnet here, which is symbolic of the full moon in Sagittarius, just so we're aware of where the energy that we're referencing is. So full moon in Sagittarius here. If we were going to go based in order, so starting at Aries, how we would interpret a horoscope is actually based on the house energy that's being activated. If you don't know your astrological houses, let me know, or if you'd like to see a basic video on how to understand your astrological houses, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm happy to do a video like that. But the houses generally represent an area of our life that's being activated. Now the houses are connected to planets and zodiacs to a certain degree, but they are something that's quite often misunderstood with astrology. So people tend to say the first house is exactly Aries, because Aries is the natal ruler of the first house. But they are slightly different. So it has undertones of Aries energy, but it's not actually Aries energy. Again, if you're wanting a video on the houses to understand them, let me know and I'll do that. So when we're doing a horoscope reading, it's based on the house energy that's being activated. So for example, if we're starting with Aries here, what we do is count how many houses until the energy that's being activated, starting with Aries as their first house. So for example, this is house 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So for Aries, if we're doing a horoscope, we would be saying Aries energy is activating the 9th house. So when we interpret the reading, we are interpreting based on 9th house energy. So for example, the 9th house is activating things like your belief system, spirituality, higher education. So then you would work with the energy of Sagittarius as a full moon and starting to incorporate the collective message of the full moon in Sagittarius. So for example, a full moon represents illumination. It represents things coming to completion. This is also, because it's Sagittarius energy, it's something that is coming to completion within the Sagittarius aspect. I don't want to go too deep into that because it's going to vary depending on it. This is just the mechanics of understanding your horoscope. So let's say, for example, we wanted to move through to Capricorn. Capricorn is the first house. You can count backwards. I tend to because it's quicker, but for this method, I'll just go forward so you understand. So the zodiac sign that you are interpreting the horoscope for is always number 1. So it would be house 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's the 12th house that's being activated. So then for a Capricorn's full moon reading, you would be talking about it activating their 12th house and then looking at the energies that that's going to encompass. So let's go into something different. So for example, we have Cancer season coming up. At the time of me filming this, obviously this is a timeless video. So we're going to talk about Cancer season. So this is when the sun moves into the sign of Cancer. So if you're wanting to see what energies are being activated for each zodiac sign, we're going to go based on the houses for Cancer season. So Cancer is having their first house activated because this is their season and this is the energy that is being activated in the chart. So the first house, which represents the physical body, it represents the identity, it represents the self. Let's say we wanted to look at Pisces and what energy is being activated. So again, remembering whatever zodiac sign you are doing the interpretation for is house number 1. So you have the first house, then you have second, third, fourth, fifth. So for Pisces, Cancer season represents their 5th house being activated by the sun because obviously a astrological season is the sun transiting an astrological sign. So then you would interpret that 4 weeks, which is how long the sun roughly stays in a zodiac sign for. You would interpret Cancer season with the undertone of Cancer's collective energy. But for Pisces particularly, you would then be talking about it activating their 5th house, which represents creativity, romance, the inner child. So for example, if I was going to do a horoscope, just to give you a few dot points on what I would say for Pisces, because Cancer rules the emotional self, it rules the intuition, it represents the mother line, it represents family and roots. It's also connected into property to a certain degree as well and the home environment. So because it's their 5th house as Cancer, I would say that they are going to have more emotional depth in romantic situations, for example, or they might be more intuitive and creative, just as a few pointers. Again, using another example, so if we're going to go for Scorpio, Cancer season, so house 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 9th house is being activated in Cancer season for Scorpio. Let's say you wanted to talk about more than one placement. So if we're looking at Cancer season, or for example, if we're doing like the energy that we're coming up to Sagittarius season, we're in Gemini season at the moment, at the time of me filming this, and then the upcoming full moon is in Sagittarius. So you could say, because a full moon is opposition, so it's when the moon and the sun are on opposite energies. As you can see, they are on opposite axis here. So there is an opposition occurring in terms of aspects. If you want to know more about your aspects, I do have an ebook that you can download. You can find that in the description box below. I also have a moon journey with the moon, which is all of the different moon phases, understanding the nodes, and so much information about moon signs and stuff as well. Also, you can find that down below. So if you're wanting to say, let's go for Taurus, and we're talking about the full moon in Gemini, the full moon in Sagittarius first of all, so house 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th house is being activated. If we want to talk about not just the full moon but also Gemini season, we can see that their 2nd house is being activated, house 1, house 2. So if you're wanting to talk about multiple things, all you're needing to do is just add where the planets are. So let's just say, for example, we want to mention Pluto being in retrograde, which he's in Capricorn at the moment. You can add in, for example, the North Node, which is in Taurus. So depending on how much you want to interpret in a zodiac horoscope, depends on how many placements you want to talk about. So this is how you understand it. So if you had all of your placements put on, or if you're looking at a particular chart, for example, an astrological chart, you're going to reference where each planetary body, astrological season, moon phase, those kind of things are being activated based on a particular sign, and counting number 1 as the house from the zodiac sign you're interpreting for, and then looking at what house is being activated. So it's the houses that represent a horoscope and how you create your own horoscope. So I'm going to leave it there. I will be doing a separate video talking about the rising sign, which is actually going to be more pinpointed in understanding when you're watching signs or interpretations yourself, which one is actually going to be the most accurate for your particular chart. Now remembering, I just need to stress this, that this is collective energy. So for example, I'm a sun sign Scorpio, but Scorpio, if we're talking about Gemini energy, which is house, again, I'll just count so everyone can get it in their head. So house 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gemini season represents the 8th house for Scorpio. However, for me personally, I know in my astrological birth chart, Scorpio is my 11th house. So even though it's my sun sign, it's actually in my 11th house, and Gemini is actually my 6th house in my personal chart. That connects into your rising sign more. So again, when I go into the video talking about your astrological rising sign and why that is more accurate, I'll explain that in far more detail. So I hope this has answered your questions on how horoscopes are created and how to interpret your own horoscopes or create your own horoscopes. Let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like to see any more videos on aspects and things like that, and houses obviously as well. And make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.